going on, guys? Good morning. This is coffee, not beer. I had somebody ask that question. Anyways, guys, today we're going to be discussing one of the macronutrients, kind of building off of the last video there. So last video we talked about protein specifically. So now we're going to kind of take a deep into the next macronutrient, which is fats. Okay. So fats are interesting, right? We're coming off of, basically a decade ladder there that basically, was scared to death of fats, right? Fats were the devil, the low fat era that came before our time. And so, I think that scared a lot of people, right? I think my mom, my dad, grandparents, like they all got shunned into the idea, the vision that like fat was bad. Avoid fat, low fat, no fat. That's what everybody was doing. And so when you start to think about that, what actually happened, right? We replaced fat, which tastes good, for sugar, right? So it's either you're putting fat into it to make it taste good, or you're putting sugar in it to make it taste good. So either way, we're trying to find kind of get that factor of enjoyment, that spike of dopamine, if you will, when somebody tastes something sweet or salty. So anyways, I could go on all day about the kind of the history there, but what we want to look into today is I want to basically just kind of educate on, why one, fat is not bad, obviously, and two, looking into specifically kind of good quality fats that, what does that even mean? And also, how much fat should I be consuming? So the quantity side of things. So when we start to look into fat intake, healthy fats would be considered things that are going to be, beneficial to the body, right? Our fat is essential to our body, all right? It's something that is a precursor to cholesterol, and therefore cholesterol is a precursor to our sex hormones. So when we start to look into testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, luteinizing hormone, FSH, all these different hormones in the body that are related to to basically our ability to have libido and sex drive and to be able to do all of the normal functioning things that both a male and a female should be able to do throughout their lifespan. And so, individuals that go on really, really low fat diets, or more specifically, maybe just low calorie diets, for a very long time, sometimes what can happen, especially in women, we see this all the time, is because they've done a low fat diet for such a long period of time, they actually lose their sex drive. They'll lose a menstrual cycle, and they'll have to really, put in some work to be able to get that back. And so what's interesting with that is it's like, wow, like, when you start to look into hormones, it's very, very, very complex, one, and two, they have such a profound effect on our body. So, guys, fat intake, when we start to define, what types of fats we're looking for, we really are going to kind of consume the majority of our healthy fats from things like, our cooking oils. So specifically, good healthy cooking oils are going to be things like extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. We're also going to get it, believe it or not, in our animal fats, right? And so, everybody wants to say, lean meats, which is fine. You also can enjoy some meats that aren't so lean. That's perfectly fine as well. The animal fats that are coming in things like meats, but even more specifically, maybe in things like salmon, you can get some really, really good fats in things like that. So when we're starting to talk, we're talking cooking oils, right? We mentioned those three there. We're talking animal fats. We're looking into things like nuts and seeds, nut butters, olives, different things like that. But that's going to kind of make up the major consumption of avocado is another big one. And so it's really starting to just look into, how are we incorporating these healthy fats into our diet to ensure that, For most people, we're consuming out of all of our calorie intake for the day, about 30 to 40% of that is coming from healthy fats. And that's what's going to allow our bodies to have, normal sexual function, normal, or women the ability to be able to, one, have a menstrual cycle, and two, be able to carry out, the birthing cycle later on if that's what they would like to do. So it's extremely, extremely important. And so, kind of what we like to look into with clients is we look into protein intake first. We kind of determine those needs. From there, we look into fat intake, and then from there, we look into carbohydrate intake. And like I said, for most people, unless you're following more of like a keto or ketogenic diet, most people are going to end up right around that range of like 30 to 40% of their total calories coming from healthy fats. If you're doing keto, now you're looking at 75 to 85% of your total calories coming from fat. So most people, keto is kind of big right now in terms of the fad diets of the world. But for most people, generally speaking, we're looking for about 30 to 40% of your calories coming from healthy fats. So 1 gram of fat yields 9 calories. Okay, and so that's what you can kind of think about when you're doing that calculation. So when we start to think about the functions of fat, when we start to think about the quality, the sourcing of healthy fats, and then the quantities of our healthy fats, when we start to think about kind of all of these different things and then how to incorporate into our day, I think one of the best ways to go about it is just try to think to yourself, with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, really try to just think about having balanced meals. And it sounds so simple, but simply getting a protein source, a healthy fat, a carbohydrate being more of like a starch, and then a carbohydrate being more of like a vegetable. And having those 4 things at each one of your major meals will really, really help with just balancing out blood sugar levels. And also in terms of macronutrients, it'll make it a lot easier for you to stay consistent with your macronutrient portions throughout the day, because you're going to have a balanced approach. Taking in basically a balanced amount of protein, carbs, and fats, by the end of that day, that can kind of make things a little bit more simple in terms of logging food and tracking food and trying to hit certain macro numbers. So guys, hope this helps. Really the big piece is kind of in review is, fat is not bad. Fat does not make you fat. Fat is a very healthy thing for us. We really need to make sure that we're incorporating healthy fats into our diet. Obviously not too much, not too little. There can be side effects from both. So really for us, we're looking into about 30 to 40% of our total intake, which is going to boil down to, make sure that you get in make sure that you're using high quality cooking oils, okay? Make sure that you're incorporating nuts and seeds and avocados and things like that, maybe daily or every other day, maybe every 3 days, something like that. And then you can also look into making sure that you're eating animal fats or animal meats and fishes that are high quality in terms of making sure that we're getting those really high quality animal fat sources from there as well. So from there, guys, with the quantity piece, do an assessment, see kind of where you're averaging out currently. If you're way higher than that 30 to 40% range or way lower, then I would just say, slowly but surely start working to that range. And ultimately, that's just going to allow you to have a little bit more balance throughout your day, regulate blood sugar a little bit better, and ensure that you're eating enough of each macronutrient in order to have optimal health. And then from there, you can kind of start to optimize and tailor these macro numbers based on your goals, whether you're trying to lose weight, whether you're trying to maintain weight, or whether you're trying to gain weight, whether you're focused more on health or aesthetics or performance. So guys, hope this helps. This was our talk on healthy fats, that macronutrient fat, and we'll be hopping into our next macronutrient, carbohydrates, in the next video. So guys, thanks for following along. Hope this helps, and y'all have a great day.